Shit. Welcome to the Successful Life Podcast. I am your host, Corey Barrier, and I'm here with Ryan Wheeler. He is so Ryan and I, we've been talking for like 30 minutes off, not recording, and he was telling me, Ryan, tell me the story that you just told me.
Oh man. So we've been chatting for like 30 minutes and we've had some just solid gold. So let's just hit that record button and go for it. So I was just talking, obviously we've got Thanksgiving coming up here. If you listen to this after, but this last weekend I had a ton of stuff. I had kind of mismanaged my schedule because I'm wrapping up my busy season. And we had our family Thanksgiving we do the weekend before, and it's also the weekend that we, for the last 2 years now, we feed 100 families. So we load up the car trailer and we get over 1,000 pounds of turkey. We set it all up, we coordinate it all, and it was it's stressful leading up to it, and it's like, oh shoot, I've got this and this and this, and you're worried and just goes crazy with things that you need to be doing. And then when that first person walked through the door that we got to feed, it was like there was nothing else mattered. There was I didn't worry about anything else that was going on. And then to watch people come in for 2 hours straight, just this stream of people that, and you figure, so it was 100 families, but each family ranged from from 2 people to 9 people. So you figure 100 people at an average of you're talking 400 people that we helped. And there's nothing, in a little back part of this story that got us onto this was just talking about the mental shift of when you actually put other people before yourself. And we agree that that's been something that's my biggest, when I started helping people and worrying about other people before me, it's been, the shift has been just incredible, and just being able to help even one person and having one person that you can change their day. It's insane how it'll take you out of a rut or gets you out of your mental place and kind of just shifts it. And sometimes for some people, they're so worried about themselves all the time. Like you were just saying, people worry about themselves. And then if they would just go out and help someone else for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, go push some carts back in up at the grocery store, that feeling, a lot of times is enough to flip your mental state, and it's crazy to explain because I'm trying to explain it because I've been in the situation all the time, and that's what changes it. So
it does. It absolutely does. And, it's so funny because last year, my wife and I, we cooked. I have a friend that's a pastor at church, and he gave me a family, didn't give me the name. He just gave me the address because I didn't want them to know who it was. Now, I didn't feed 100 families, but we fed one family, and we cooked the dinner, and we took it and rang the doorbell and just got back in the car and drove off. The people knew that we were coming, just didn't know when. And the feeling that I had driving away from there, because it was probably the most selfless thing I've ever done. Yeah. Like, right. It was, it's a feeling like I can't describe. You get it because you did it.
There is no better feeling. And we do it with some families for Christmas too. And we go, and it is like last year when we were doing it, we had, I'm like, dude, let's take 3 families. Let's take, I want to take 100 families if I could. But, you get to the store and you're trying to buy all the stuff on the list, and all of a sudden you're looking, you're like, oh, damn, like this is a lot of money. And then it's kind of and I'd go through those little like, oh, it's worth it. It's worth it. And then we go in, we put them all in black bags, and you just go drop them off. Nobody knows we did it except for us. But that feeling, like there is no high better than that feel. And dude, anybody who would know between you and me that is there's nothing compares to it.
And we put a lot of substances, and
Yeah.
both of us have, and done shit like to the max, but nothing compares to that feeling. And so we have another family this year. We're going to do the same thing. Except for this year, we're going to drop it off and let them cook it, which I don't know how. I don't know if it's taken away part of it for me. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we do all of our when we do these with the big amount of family. It's my buddy Ryan that started this. He's been doing it for 5 years, and he started it because he had to get a Thanksgiving dinner from something similar, and then he was like, "Dude, when I get to where I want to be," because he was living in a hotel with his family, and all of it, the root cause of all that was drug addiction in the family, and so. He was like, dude, and we saw, I mean, when we watch these people come in, like, dude, I can spot it from a mile away. And so many of them they don't want to be seen. They don't, they're ashamed. And it's like, dude, if these people just reached out for help instead of trying to cover it up like it's something bad.
Yeah.
Like I've tried to explain to people, I hire people all the time that openly knowing, meth is just a disaster in the whole country right now. And the opioid crisis, all that stuff is just so huge. And I'll bring these people in knowing and just straight up tell them when I hire them, like, hey, I know you have issues, but I'm willing to work with you because they're not bad people. They just have addiction, and people that do not have an addiction do not have a clue. But anyway, what that started with, but with the frozen, not cooked, that's how we do all ours. They get a box and it's got everything in it.
Yeah.
And then, cause some people do take that as they've got the space, they can do it.
Sure.
And they actually take kind of pride in like, prepare.
Good, because I didn't know how I felt about it. And I want that feeling that I had last year. Selfishly, I'm doing it to help the family, but after I had the feeling that I had, selfishly, I want that again.
Yep. And I completely hear you. That's so, it's addicting. I mean,
yeah, it really is. It absolutely is. So, so we were talking earlier. So Ryan, you used to, and I didn't even know all this, you used to own a snow removal company. Is that right?
Yep. So what I do is I have a commercial construction company. And then for 17 years, I have done snow removal. There's been a couple years where I got out of it, tried to get out of it, never really got out of it. It was more, got rid of my stuff, gave my accounts to other people. They didn't fulfill their side of what they were supposed to do. And then I ended up having to get all my stuff back. And then so essentially I did snow removal still, but I just did it for free instead of making money, which is, I highly recommend not doing it that way because it doesn't pay well. But yeah, so I've done snow removal for many, 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 many years. And this will be, so we're rolling into, we have our first big snowstorm coming tonight. They're talking 7 to 10 inches. And it is the first time in probably about 17 years that I have not been worried. The first one every year is kind of fun because it's exciting because then it's like money's rolling back in and all that stuff. But then it gets into the season and we've done pretty high level. I mean, in the 6 figures of what we do for snow removal. So it wasn't like we just went out with a shovel and a snowblower, plows and skid loaders and the full,
a lot of
full
equipment.
thing, big commercial, churches and storage units. And, so yeah, this is my first year. Last year, February, we had build out, I think like 31 snow events in 28 days because we were doing so many back to back. And after that, I'd gotten to a place mentally where I knew it was not a safe place to be mentally. And I told my wife,
let's go there for a second. Let's go there.
Yeah.
So when you say that you went to that place mentally, and I was sharing with you, and I actually don't know if I've shared this on any of the other podcasts. I don't remember. I feel like I haven't. But we were talking and we didn't know how the two of us had not connected because we have so many similarities. And I was telling Ryan that, I was up until like a month and a half ago, I was in a mild depression because I'd lost my hormone replacement clinic, and I just I couldn't really find what I really wanted to do, or my passion. I just couldn't really figure it out until now. And this is what I found, and I don't monetize this, but I get to help other people, and I get to hear a lot of cool stories, and with that, things are going to work out, and I know that without a shadow of a doubt. So that place that you were in February, tell me about that.
So it just got to a place mentally where and anybody who's fought with or is currently fighting with either, being in recovery or the addiction. I mean, you don't, like we had talked about, when you're an alcoholic, and when you rely on alcohol, it's been 6 years since I've had a drink of alcohol. So I'm no longer,
Right.
contrary to what the AA and like we were talking about believes, I am no longer an alcoholic. I don't need alcohol. My life has gotten so much better without it. But when you've been an addict or fought with addiction, where whatever it is, from, porn to gambling to drugs to pills to anything, even like personal development, I get into a space now where I get addicted to the shit. But it's with anything. So I have to be super careful where I put my mind, because man, that addiction is, I feel you've always got that in you, is that addictive. It's just, you need to learn how to channel it. So yeah, last February when I was just beat. I was worn down, and it was to a point where I could tell that mentally I was I was almost at the point where I was willing to do whatever to get what I felt was out of that, just that place. Yep. And it was being out of the present. Like, I had lived so long in a state of something, you know what I mean? Something not level.
Right.
Because I had, between, uppers, downers, booze, booze is a downer, everything else that I liked was uppers. So living in a place so long like that, I could see mentally during that time where it's like, man, this is the breaking point. I wasn't attached with my family. Like not that I was out doing anything wrong or away from, I was away from my family, but I was out working, but there was no like connection with my kids. Like I got home, I was dead tired for a month. A month where I would go on, many times where I'd go 48 hours on 2 to 3 hours of sleep over and over. It destroys you inside. And it was cold. It's cold out and it's snow and stuff's breaking and yeah. So I told my wife I was done with it. She's like, yeah, you say that every year. I'm like, nope. Went back to Andy Frisella's podcast, the MFCEO Project, draw the line in the sand. And I did that. And I got rid of everything. I can't even do my own driveway here.
It's got to be a fucking great feeling.
Dude, it is. It's weird. It's the weirdest. Like I said, it's been 17 years. So like talking to my wife, I'm like I can be doing this right now with you. Sure. With a huge snowstorm coming. Like all I got to make sure is I park my truck up in the shop. Right. So it stays warm. Like sure. I don't have to do anything. So it is weird. It's the weirdest feeling. And it was, I've done this before where I've talked about it, but then when it gets close, it's like, oh, I need the money.
Right.
Like, okay, we'll just get back in and we'll just keep, a handful of accounts. We'll get rid of the really shitty ones. And I would do that. And then, within 2 weeks of the first snowfall, then I got more accounts than I had before. And and I couldn't get out of it. And now I'm out of it. And really I put it out there in the world last February when I said, like, I'm done with it. This is my last year. Told my wife, so I'm done with it. She says, yeah, whatever. And it screwed up. We plan a vacation each winter because my summers are so crazy busy. And every single vacation that I can remember that I've been on with my wife and then with my family has been stressful as hell because it's winter. Shit breaks the second I leave. I'm like on the airplane. I'm getting text messages that the plow truck broke and this broke and there's hydraulic fluid everywhere. What do we do? It's like, damn it. Like, for real? Like, why does this have to? And I don't know if it was just a sign like, dude, get the hell out of here. But, I had to do what I had to do because I had to make the money, because I live a lifestyle that's by design. But when that income shuts off from our season, we essentially have 7 months out of the year to make all our money.
Right.
So it's, I'm pumped. I'm super excited. It's so weird to sit here and know that.
So now you said summers are busy. So now you continue with owning a construction company. What does that look like? What do you build? What do you do?
So we specialize. We do the commercial side of it. We don't do any residential. We don't do anything with houses. Occasionally we'll do something with like a small flat roof. That's what we specialize in, is like flat roofing.
Okay.
So strip malls, hospital, anything with big commercial flat roofs on them. So, and we've positioned ourselves to be completely different than anybody else in our space. We employ everybody. We don't hardly sub out anything. And then we take care of the customers in a totally different way that's completely out of the normal. And if we sat and told our business plan of how we do things to one of the big companies, they would say, you guys are complete idiots. That'll never work. But we're on year 6, and our profit margins are double what any of those people are.
So why do you think that is? Because I think I know why that is. Actually, I do know why that is. But why do you think the bigger guys would not understand? Because I understand exactly what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And I know how you run your business just because of our conversation.
Right. Yeah. So we take care of them. That's what we do, is we take care of. So we go into a building, all the tenants that we're going to be working over, making noise, dropping shit out of the ceiling. Oh, do we cut power all the time? It's nasty. What we do is a tough job. There's a lot of liabilities and risks, but we're really, really good at it. The guys are really good at it. But what we do is we make personal relationships with these people that we're working over. And it takes some time. It takes some money. We go in, my business partner will bring in, so say we're going over a clinic. I mean, we're talking, these places are making freaking sterile needles and medical supplies. They can't have a bunch of shit falling on them, mm-mm. The AC going down, and we go in and we explain to them exactly what's happening. We apologize in advance because it's not going to be comfortable for us to be out there. And then we'll find out how many staff members they have, and we'll cater in ribs, and he makes them. He does them all himself.
Your partner does?
My partner does. Yep.
No kidding.
He loves it. Yep. So we'll bring in, do coolers of stuff. We come in, we don't say a ton when we're there. We just feed them, serve them, and let them know. And then we get all their, we give them all our contact information so that because they don't own these buildings. They're just leasing. We're working for the building owners. They're not on site. They're not around. So when we do that, they get to come in, they get to see my face. They get to see my partner's face. I mean, they don't see the guys, but they know that we're coming out. It's early on, when we first had partnered up, I was kind of like, I mean, I get what you're doing, but you're kind of going above and beyond. Like we're not really making much money at this second, but we're in here like feeding all these people. Like, does that? And he's like, yeah, dude. And he's older. He's been around. He's been in this business for a long, long time. And now that I look at it, I mean, I've been in it for 17 years, so I've been in it a long time too. But I didn't see that big picture. And now I'm like, damn, like, and you can't, like, we could sit down with people and I'll tell people and they're like, well, I'm not going to do that. Uncle, that's fine. You don't have to. You can still run a company. There's a bunch of people doing it. It's just the way we've decided to do it. And now we don't really, it sounds crazy because I get people that hit me up all the time for sales leads,
Right.
I'm like, we don't sell. Like, we don't sell any work. We've got a list of people that want work done, and we pick off that list when we can handle the work.
Sure.
We don't have a sales team. We
That's
don't have, I have a shop that's on my property and I've got an office out there and, but we don't have a $7,000 a month rent bill and we don't have $100,000 a month office person that sits, we've cut all that. There is none of that. So by us managing and running and staying at the size that's comfortable, and we've scaled, we've gone pretty big, and we crushed it one season where we really went after it, and it was sweet, and it was a lot of money, but it really wasn't, there was so much stress that goes along with that. Because like this year I took 200 and over 250 applications and offered every single person a job and went through about 25 people, but only had like 3 people stick. Because these young guys come in, dude, and they're not used to physical labor. They just think it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's degeneration, really. And if we're being honest, I mean, when I came, I worked since I was 15, dude. Like I would bust tables at a restaurant when I was 15. When as soon as I got my license, I started working. I kept working the restaurant, but I've worked since I've been 15, period. I mowed yards before that.
Yeah. I was going to say, dude, I used to go and I was telling my son this, and I'll get throwing it back with some of my buddies where we're like, get talking. And I'm like, dude, you remember when your dad would drop us off and we had 2 rakes and we raked 3 acres of leaves and we got $17 that we had to split. It took us 9 hours. Like that was less than $1 an hour, but it was $1 we didn't have. And then, we'd get that little happenings book and we could get, buy one, get one for a Big Macs. Then we could both go. But that was like how I grew up, was like, dude, if you want, and then that's what led to, selling pot in the bathroom at school, was that like boys got to make money.
Right.
Cause I want to do shit.
Right.
And at that time, and they don't teach you none of that in school. They're not teaching these kids, like they're teaching them that, well, if you get good grades here, you do good today, and then you do good tomorrow, and you do good this year, and then you get into a really good college, and then you can go get a CEO position.
Which is fucking bullshit.
Dude, it's insanity, and it drives me insane. So I do junior achievement in the schools, and it's teaching. I really like it in like the 2nd and 3rd grade level.
Okay. Because
it's teaching kids that like there are other ways of making money. It's teaching them about small businesses. It's teaching them about the trades, which the trades are huge right now. I mean, I've got probably 15 buddies or 15 people that I know of in the trades, no high school no further education than high school, making $100K plus a year.
What do you mean trades? Like a trade
in the trades, electricians.
Okay, plumbers, I thought that's what you meant. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, welders, construction, framing, all that, all that stuff. So, but that used to be so frowned upon, because you'd be like, oh, he's a dirty construction worker. It's like, yeah, this dirty construction worker makes $40 an hour. Like,
that's crazy.
You know what I mean? So it was so frowned upon. So when I went into the high school to do junior achievement, I'm used to like these 2nd and 3rd graders that think dude, they think I'm awesome. I got tattoos and a Lambo. Like, how much cooler could a dude get?
Right.
And then I go up to the high school, and these are like real humans who like really are like adults. And I go in there and I'm like, all right, who's going to college? Every hand goes up in a whole classroom. I'm like, damn. So I talked to the teacher. I said, what can I say and what can't I say here? Cause like, I know what you guys are teaching them, but dude, it ain't the right way. Like, yeah. He's like, dude, you do what you do. And then I kind of went through the curriculum and I was reading some of it, and I'm looking at these stats, and these stats are showing like if you get a GED or drop out of high school, like the most, and it's saying like stated facts that the most you could ever make in a year is $17,300. And I'm like, where are you guys getting this garbage from? Cause like, it was frustrating. So I kind of went to the board and I was like, dude, I love doing this. I want to work with these kids, but something's got to give here, because you can't put these numbers up and make these like they're hard facts. because they're not. I got buddies who are 18 that dropped out of school at 16 that are making freaking $500,000 a month because they have some crazy e-commerce platform that they don't even, they don't even know what they're doing. And they're just, I know now, but they're just crushing it. So it was, it's just been it is crazy what these kids need.
So did the school allow you to open up and say, look, like, you don't have to go this route. You don't have to go the college route. You probably should finish high school, but even if you don't do that, you still can make a lot of money.
Right. Because that's what they all wanted to know was because I'd see them, I'd hear my little Instagram thing going off because one kid who had seen my YouTube video, and then he told, dude, that's Lambo Dad. And then he had told him, and then all of a sudden, dude, I got 16 new followers on Instagram. And so, which is sweet. I love it. But then I finally was kind of just like, well, here's the deal. I'm going to tell them my story. They want to know. I mean, these kids are like on the edge of their seats.
Sure.
They want to hear. They want to. And I told them, like, dude, to be honest, like, here's what I got into. I got into alcohol. I got into drugs. I dropped out of high school. Fast forward to the cool shit that is what you guys see now. I've been through some shit, but now I do get to drive a Lamborghini, and now I live a pretty good life, but I had to change everything I was doing in my life. And I was able to use my past as a foundation to, like, okay. And then I get people that are like, well, don't forget where you came from. Like, dude, motherfucker, I'll never forget where I came from. That's not a place I'll ever go back to.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I opened up, man, and told them and talked. And I mean, these kids were like on the edge of their seats. And when I showed up, I was thinking, like, when I was doing it in the middle school and the elementary school, it was like, you had like 30 minutes with these kids. I go in there like, all right, the first session's 3 hours. I'm like, 3 hours? I have to speak in front of a classroom of juniors for 3 hours? Like, dude, I was freaking out. Like, I had no idea what I was going to do. And then I just got where I opened up. I mean, I was sweating halfway down to my freaking pants. Dude, it was terrible because it was so far out of my comfort zone to be the one up there. But then I just kind of went and gave them like the real. And then we went back with all the teachers, all the parent or the adults that do this group. And, they're all 95% of them are the suit and tie. They work at the bank. The bank pays them and gives them the hours to go do this.
Right.
I'm like, dude, I got all hell breaking loose on a job site right now that I'm in charge of. Like, and I'm here. And, I roll in and, dress nice, but I got, I'm tatted up. I got a hat on. I didn't look like anyone else in that group of people. I was about 20 years younger. And we get back and the big talk was like, yeah, it's really hard with the high schoolers because they don't listen. They don't pay attention. I'm like, shit, dude, I had these kids on the edge of their seat. I didn't see a cell phone come up except for to follow me on Instagram. Like,
right.
Because they can relate with this, with the realness when you do bring it. And even the teacher was like, man, I didn't expect that. Well, I didn't know what to say. Like, that's the real of it that these kids don't hear because they're being taught by someone who's in a job that they don't like. And I think teachers and police officers are the most underpaid people in the world. Dude, I mean, love them or hate them, the jobs that they do, they should be making what athletes make because
absolutely.
I mean, and it's so hard to see because, man, these teachers, especially as they get into these older, like 7th graders, I mean, we've got in 7th, I mean, we're having suicides and all this crazy shit in like 6th and 7th grade in the local schools here. And it's like, damn, like, how do you stop that? And like you and me were talking before we were recording here, is that there's so many people that are like, well, we're going to change this and change that. And we're going to put this money into place and we're going to do this and this and this and this. But they don't ever step foot into the school and do any of it. They want to fix it with money, which money can go a long way if you have stuff in place to spend the money on to get, but people, you just need to have your feet on the ground. And like you were talking about your group, like that's what, if you change one person's life from that group, like the value, like think of what that's worth.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's priceless.
It is.
Like you can't put a price tag on it. So these people that talk this big talk about, well, we're going to raise 200 million for this. Like, well, then what are you going to do with it? You're going to take 100 million of it for administrative bullshit.
Right.
You're going to have all these rules that you can't really get through. And then all this legal legislation. And then what's going to happen? They're going to get a fucking crayon room with padded walls that they're going to shove the kids with ADD in. Like, that's not fixing shit.
No.
You know, and it's, oh, fuck, I get worked up because, like, that was me. It was like
well,
in the format.
And this is the thing, like, you're so right, because, you know, you have somebody that's, one, getting paid to go in. People can see the authenticity. They can see if you're genuine, and they also can see if you're fucking full of shit.
Yep.
They can see if you walk up in there with a suit, and people can tell if you don't want to be there. They know. The kids, they know.
Yeah, dude, they can read right through it. That's what they do for a living, is they read through bullshit.
Right.
Like, dude, they're on top of it. And yeah, dude, it gets so, and that's where I've gotten, we've got a group, and actually I think they've gone pretty much nationwide, but they're called Rise Together.
Okay.
You should look them up. You should get them on your podcast.
Absolutely.
Anthony is the guy who runs it. It's dude, they came and I got invited out to this event at the school, and they come in and, dude, they break it down real. Like, they give their real story. And there was 300 or 500 kids in the auditorium, and I mean, it was loud, and they couldn't get them to really calm down. And as soon as they started speaking, dude, you could hear a fucking pin drop for like almost 2 hours. Wow. It was, but those are guys that are feet on the ground every single day. They're in the schools. They're real. They're tatted up. They've been through the shit. It's exactly what, like, we're talking about. And like what you're doing.
I don't think there's anything like that at the schools here. If there is, I have never heard of it. So if you can maybe even sync me up with Anthony,
I will.
I would love. I mean, what state are you in?
I'm in Wisconsin.
Okay, so I'm in North Carolina, and you know we're in the Bible Belt. So even now, when I walk into my daughter's school, I don't give a fuck personally, but you can tell because I got a full sleeve. My wife has a half sleeve, you know, and we don't give a fuck. It is what it is, and I cuss like hell. I don't do it necessarily in the school, but like you can see because my child goes to we live in a nice area that most of the kids are fucking stuck up little shits. And like, you know, for me to walk in with a tattoo that, you know, people's head, I don't care. But this Rise thing is what needs to happen here.
Yep. Dude. And they'll come there. They go all over the place. And we've tried. So we were trying to put something more in play, that there's someone always at the school that's like represents Rise. And it kind of, as things kind of ramped up, it was like my busiest time of the year. And it's so hard because like I keep my Thursdays throughout my busy season is mentoring. I go into the schools. Thursday's my day. I do that no matter what. I love that. And it's super hard because like, I mean, I'll have 26 messages on my phone in an hour. Like, so, you know, so it's like, but I've kept that, and I've kept that promise. To myself, because literally when I go in and mentor, I leave in a better place than these kids do, because it helps me mentally so much more than they'll ever even know. Sure. But it's, but then it helps them, and they look forward to it. And it's been the one kid that I mentor with. I mean, we're on year 3. It's awesome. Like it's like me and him have a relationship. I bring the food to his family. I bring bounce houses to his birthday. Like, I do, even in the summer, I pick him up in the Lambo. We go get ice cream, you know, like every single week. But that's like a crazy, huge commitment to make, that when I made it. So you were talking about the walking in the school and kind of being looked at. I'll give you a quick rundown. This is kind of a cool story. But when I first got into this space, I'd started listening to Andy's podcast. This is like 3 years ago. I had gone in, I'm like, all right, winter's coming. I have snow removal, but it's definitely slower than my busy season. I've got to do something to keep my mind right. Try to keep me, with this personal development, whatever the hell that is that I'm working on. And so I'm like, I'm going to go read to kids in school. They got this reading buddies thing. And it was my kid's school. So like my first kid I got to read with was my own. So I'm like, I can do this. And then I got another one. It was like 15 minutes a week with each kid. So I'd go in, I was there for 30 minutes. And I'm like, man, this is weird. Like these other kids, like, I don't know how to, they want to like high five or hug. And like, I don't know what you're supposed to do. And I'm not trying to get in trouble. And people are looking at me, you know what I mean? Cause I'm, like you said, dude, fully tatted up.
Yeah.
I wear a hat. So it was weird. And I'm like, I'm going to stick to it for at least like a month or two. Dude, after like 3 weeks, I was like, this is what I'm here to do, is to work with these kids. And I grew this relationship with just being in the school. I mean, dude, I went in the last 3 years, I probably spent more time in schools than I did in all of my high school career because I was skipping class so often. Like, and it's crazy to think that now I take my time away from making money to go work in the schools when I used to try to get out of the school, like how much it's flipped. But so that's what got me started. And then I'm like, went to the social worker or the counselor. And I said, hey, do you guys got a kid, like a boy? The girl thing is, I don't really know I can't relate to a girl. I'm not a girl.
Right.
And y'all got a boy that like needs me to, like, oh, we do. We got someone. And that's one I've been mentoring for 3 years and had crazy story. Probably one of my favorite little humans in the world now. But I started working with him and I'm like, dude, this is what's up. But then I got to where I'd go to school stuff. So we'd go to like a kid's concert. And now, by this time I've got 20, 30 kids. I've taught junior achievement. I've done all this stuff. I'm at the field trips. I'm doing all this. So these kids know me. So then we go to like a concert and, I roll in there and all the kids, Mr. Wheeler. And then I'll get the other, the hip kids and they're Lambo Dad, like saw your video on YouTube. And then I'm watching their parents who are, and there's nothing against a suit and a tie, but this proper sitting on their phone the whole time, like they're busy. And they're going, get over here. What are you doing? Get over here. Cause like, oh, that's Mr. Wheeler. Well, who's that? He's got a Lambo. No, he doesn't. And like, no, he does. That's Cruz's dad. And that feeling and seeing these kids so pumped up to see me and then seeing their dads who they've never even stepped foot in that school. And some dads don't have the option to, but for me, it's like I've made my, like, I don't miss none of it now. And now these kids, like, it's insane how many of them everywhere I go now in Hudson, in my town here, running into these kids, and then their parents are messaging me and they're like, dude, my kid loves this, or you did this and you talked to him and you did this with him. Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan. I subscribe to your YouTube channel. It's like,
that is freaking awesome.
And it all started from getting out of my comfort zone, getting into the school, trying to do just something, 15 minutes of reading with a kid. And it was awkward as shit the first couple of times, like awkward, like to where I didn't know what to do. But I knew that the only way I was going to get to, figure out, like you were saying, like finding that your purpose, your passion.
Sure.
And I had never in a billion years. I've always liked kids and my kids, but I never saw that coming, but I kind of lived the MF CEO project, just go put good into the world and just be a good person, even when people aren't looking, and really live by that and help others. And then when I started doing it, all of a sudden it clicked. And now that's, if I could do it all the time, that's what I would do. And that's my goal is, within 5 years, that's my goal, is to be able to have residual income to where I can go be full-time, essentially. I'll never be retired, but retired from the day-to-day grind and be able to do whatever I want with my family. And
pretty amazing how many people, I mean, I don't know how many millions of people Andy has touched through his podcast, and Ed for that matter. I didn't even know who Andy was until probably 8 months ago. And how I found him was I saw a guy with an RT shirt on Instagram, and I connected with two guys. I connected with him, one of which I know Josh Kirk.
Yep.
So he's my partner in this venture and in a couple of other things. But Josh connected with me and did an IG Live, which I'd never done one. He had never done one. And if you know Josh, he doesn't get on camera, right? He does memes and post a bunch of stuff, but you don't ever see his face. And he got on with me. And when we connected, it kind of started this whole thing for me. And then I connected with Chris Saunders. I don't know if you know him. But then Chris turned me on to Andy, and he challenged me to do 75 hard, which did you do it?
I did like 37 days.
It's tough.
And with the two kids, it was I tried, dude. I gave it my all, and I see the value in it big time. But what was happening was, my wife was like, dude, you're literally giving me 0 time. She's like, that's great. That's cool that you're mentally getting tough. She's like, but you're letting me go to bed by myself every night. You're out at the gym till. She's like, I get it. You're committed to it. You're killing it. She's like, but you're fucking up because you're not with me.
Right.
And you're not taking care of me. I'm like, oh shit, 75 out the window for now, because I had to, and that was hard as hell. Cause I'm like, want to take that, like, Andy, fuck, I could do this too. I know I'm mentally tough, but man, when you got kids and that's one thing, like, dude, Andy's single-handedly out of everybody is what's changed my life the most.
Sure.
It's his podcast. That's the first podcast I ever listened to, ever found. Got into a buddy's truck and he had some guy talking. I'm like, are we 90? Like, you listening to someone fucking talk? And he's like, no, dude, you got to listen. And then Andy's like, the fucking motherfucking listen. I'm like, whoa, damn. This dude's wild. What is this? And then I listened, and dude, I was just stuck. Like, I mean, because I was listening from, it was back episodes in the 70s episodes. Yeah. And then I went back and did power listened the next week, every episode, caught up, and then never missed one single episode. And I mean, that's what changed my life, but it was just insane. I never listened to a podcast or nothing.
I miss it, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I totally miss it. He's got some. I don't know what it is. He's got something coming up. You may know what it is.
I don't. But you're right.
I know some people. People have alluded to. He's got something big coming up, but I have not been able to figure out what the hell that is. But knowing Andy, it's going to be huge, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, and like he said, and it makes perfect sense because I've had a lot of people. One of the first things I do when people reach out to me for help is I do listen to podcasts. Well, no, what's that? I'm like, oh shit, your life is about to be flipped upside down. If I wouldn't have found podcasts and then got into audiobooks, I mean, and it sounds like, especially when I first got into it, when I tell people like, dude, you listen to this podcast? They're like, that's weird.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, no, it's changed my life. Like, well, from listening to someone talk, but I send them to the MFCEO project and then like, well, I want to listen. Why isn't a new one coming out? I'm like, you can't tell me you listened to all 350 of them yet. Go back. All the shit's in there.
Right.
It does suck for the people that listen all the time. Cause it's like, man, I need some fire from Andy, but it was so much of it was just putting it in a different, it had turned to where he was talking about the same stuff because
just reframing it.
Yep. Because if you do what he's telling you to do, your life's going to get better. But these people don't change anything. Then they listen. They're like, fuck yeah, CEO, fuck yeah. And then they don't do shit.
Right.
And Absolutely. They don't realize that it's being the CEO of your life, taking control of your life, not you could be a fry cook, right? Like he talks about.
Yeah.
But be the best fucking one there is.
Yeah. And like he said, it's just the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. One of the things that really stuck out to me, and it's kind of weird, but like, he's like, dude, like, wipe the piss off the fucking seat if you piss on the fucking seat in the bathroom. And I was like, it's such the easiest thing, but you go anywhere and you always see piss on the seat. And I'm like, it takes the fucking 3 seconds.
Yep. Yep. And people don't want to, they feel like they're better than that. And like the shopping carts and then everywhere I go, like I wipe down the counters, you know, of the, and
in
now
the bathroom.
It's like in the bathroom. Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've been doing it now for like years to where it's not weird to me
no
at all. And it was so funny. So you did one with Caleb just recently.
Yeah.
So we were in LA 2 weeks ago. And I mean, have you been to LA?
Yes.
It's a shithole.
Yes.
Like LA is a dump. I was thinking it was like all going to be sweet. It was a shithole. And we walked out of Starbucks or Caribou or what at Starbucks, I think. And I had set down my little stir stick. There was all this garbage. And I had set down my stir stick and then I had taken an Instagram or done something. And I remembered we got like 10 feet away and I remembered I'd set that down on the ledge. And I turned around to go grab it. And there's Caleb. He went back, picked it up. We didn't even say anything about it. I just saw, but that's how it's not who's watching. It's not he was just doing that. Because
that's got to do the next right thing.
Right. And so here I am and I remembered it. So I even stopped to turn around and I look and he's already back there grabbing it, throwing it away. And it's like, damn,
that's awesome.
This is what's up. Like that's good. Like being around like that whole network thing and you know, who you surround yourself with. And that's insanely
damn truth, dude.
Yep. And like with you doing this and with the podcast and being on top of it and like really getting these people lined up. And I mean, that's so huge because you get to have you make a real connection.
Absolutely.
Like
absolutely. And it's cool as fuck because, you know, it's weird because I would have never, if you would have asked me 2 months ago, but better yet, this mic sat on my fucking desk for 3 months. And my story was that I haven't set anything up. I don't really know what to do. But then I got Ryan Williams. Do you know Ryan Williams?
Mm-mm.
Navy SEAL. Anyway, if you listen to he was my first interview. I saw him at the Arte event. And I said, you know, will you be on my podcast? He was like, yeah. And so I said, all right, well, let's set up a date because now maybe it's the salesperson in me. I want to lock shit down. If you say we're going to do it, let's lock it down now. Because if we lock it down, it's going to happen. So it put me in a jam. So, I mean, I struggled. I have busted my ass for 20 fucking hours a day trying to figure this shit out. I am not a technical dude. Like computer shit, I am just not that guy. So I had to learn how to do the music and it's may not still be not perfect, but I'm proud of myself for learning how to do it and making that leap. And then getting the people on that I have has been huge. I mean, I've interviewed some pretty big ass people and I've got big ass people coming up, you know, like Jared Robbins is one.
Dude, it's so cool. Like, so I started mine and my hard thing is I started a YouTube channel and that was one of those things that I had kind of talked about. And it was actually came up from being in the school with the kids because they would come up to me and assume they'd be like, oh man, you got tattoos. You drive a Lambo, you a YouTuber. So that's just what that's what their brains think.
Right.
That's what guys that are young because I have tattoos. So I'm young, which shit, I'm 34 now, so like I feel like I'm getting old, but like that's what these kids think. And they're I'm like, nah, I'm not a YouTuber. And they're like, yeah, you is. I'm like, no, I'm not. Maybe I should. And they're like, you're not telling us because you swear in it and you don't want us to hear it. And I'm like, damn, these kids are smart, but I didn't have a YouTube channel. And then I started talking about it and I'm like, man, that'd be really cool to do. But then that's what it was. I just talked about it. had the stuff sitting there, talked about it. Didn't know what I'd say. Didn't know what I'd do. Didn't know how I was going to react to having 3 people watch it. And I went and I got asked to do a video with some dudes that were kind of coming up in the game of YouTube. Okay. And he said, can we do a review with your Lambo? I'm like, yeah. I'll bring my camera. So here I go. I bring my camera. I've never done anything like I don't have a YouTube channel. Right. So I'm acting like, like this is all comfortable for me. And they're like, you got a YouTube? I'm like, no, I don't have one yet. And they're like, you do today. So in their video that they're doing, they're like, all right, go check out my boy. It's Lambo_dad. He's got a brand new YouTube channel. Show him some love. He's like, this is going to be up in 2 days. You got 2 days to put up your first video and get a YouTube channel.
Boom.
And I'm like, shit. So I'm out there, dude, awkward as hell. Like, dude, it was horrible. It was the most uncomfortable thing in the world. But it was like, I dropped one. I put one out there. I was like, all right, got a few views on it. And I'm like, okay, got another one out. And then it was like kind of took a lull in it because it was, but now like I've committed to two videos a week. And I want to start getting to at least one podcast a week. And everyone I've reached out to do a podcast, like these people that are, pretty big people, like, yeah, I'd love to. And then I'm like in that boat you were in where I'm like, shit, I don't even know how to use any of this stuff. I don't know how to get a recording done on Zoom. I'm like, well, if we can just show up somewhere, we could do it. Cause right. I can do it in person.
Sure.
But it's, it's just doing it. And so many people talk about it, but just doing it. And then to see how fast, I mean, you haven't been doing this very long. You've had some powerhouses on there already.
Dude, I mean, honest to God, I to this day do not, I believe in the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. This has got to be what I'm supposed to be doing because I had one person say, yeah, you don't have enough people. All right, douchebag. Whenever I pass you, yep. I'm going to laugh when you ask me to come on and do a podcast with you. Yep. One dude, that's it in this whole personal development world has given me that answer.
Yep.
He's not and he's not shit compared to some of the people that I've interviewed. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
So, like, it is what it is. Like, and it's okay. Like, I'm not offended. Like, maybe that's just his damn rule. I don't know. But,
right.
But it's weird because he's the only motherfucker that has said no.
Yep. Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy and so many people have talked. I mean, I probably have 30 people that have messaged me and they're like, yeah, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, well, start it. Well, right. I don't really, just put something up, dude, jabber for 5 minutes and get Spreaker or whatever you want to do it on. And you just drop it in. I mean, it's not, I had paid one of the young guns for some personal coaching. And that was part of it was we were going to get my YouTube or my podcast all set up, show me how to do it, monetize, do all this. And then it was like call after call. I'm trying to set it up and get it going. And then I did everything I was told to. And then I couldn't. So finally I just went on YouTube, just went to the go-to, So how the fuck do I start one of these damn things?
Right.
And then just did it and then just learned. And then I had called my buddy. I'm like, hey dude, I'll transfer you $100 if you make me like 5 sweet intros. In like 3 minutes, hey, this is Rory. He sends me back this sweet ass intro. And I'm like, dope. Now what?
I don't have a good intro.
Oh, dude, I got a guy that.
I need his information. Yeah, make sure you send it to me for sure. My intro is like music. That's it. Because I don't know how to do like voiceover shit. No clue.
Yep, I don't either. So what I do is I just take in GarageBand because I have a MacBook.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
okay.
So I just drop it into GarageBand and I got my little intro clip. I just drop it in there. Just push the audio up. I don't re-listen to any of my audio.
Yeah.
Just drop it in there. So, I mean, there could be times where it just stops. I don't ever know.
So I use Audacity.
Okay. Yeah. Audacity is good. That's what I was, I have Audacity on here too, because someone had recommended that. And I don't remember. I screwed something up with logging in or something. So.
Yeah, whatever.
So I just use GarageBand. Yeah.
I don't blame you. I say I did this exact same thing with GarageBand. I tried to get into it, and I'm like, I didn't understand any of it. So somehow I fucked it up. So I was like, all right, I'll just delete the whole damn.
Yeah. I just did the exact opposite.
All right,
but that's the thing, is that it's just people, they just got to get out there and do it. Everyone talks about it, but same with like that group you're talking about starting. Like, you just do it. And if I mean, you could talk about having 10 million downloads, but what if you got 2 downloads, but it changed 2 people's life?
Dude,
what's
powerful?
Why do you need 1 million? What's up with why everyone's so worried about these big numbers? And it's it doesn't. If you're changing people's lives, who cares if it's 1 at a time?
Dude, I totally agree. 100%.
Yeah, a lot more than most people are doing.
So, all right, my man. Well, let's wrap up. I've got another person, my lady, coming. So I definitely want you to hook me up with Anthony, because I definitely want to do something like that here. That would be really fucking cool.
Yeah, shoot me a DM when we're done.
I will.
Yeah, send me all the stuff we had talked about, because there was one other thing I was going to hook you up with.
Intro guy,
and then what was the other thing? There was something else I told you I was going to send you the info for, or send you his info. I don't know. You might have to listen. We might have to listen back to it.
Yeah, I may have to do that, because now I can't even remember. But
yeah,
either way, it's all good.
But for sure.
Well, look, my man, thank you so much. I have thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, we spent fucking an hour and a half on the phone, which I loved every second of it. So thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it,
thank
brother.
you. This is thank you for doing what you're doing, dude. This is awesome. I'm proud of you. I don't even hardly know you, but to see people actually making moves and doing what everyone talks about doing takes a lot to do. It takes the commitment to do it. And it's, and I know firsthand, it's not easy to do. And then, like you were saying, finding that passion. I mean, there's nothing, there's no high like it.
There's really not. And we've seen all the highs. So,
and those highs all come with lows.
They guarantee we know what it's like out there. This shit's far better. It's far better. And guess what?
Is.
And you remember what you did yesterday. So, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
Awesome, dude. It's been real.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
All right, my man. Thank you. You got it.